You think that you're.
Yeah.
It's in your, it's in your.
And this,
Yeah.
I don't like it really together like. There it is.
Secret. Or. These documents. Hearing. Next week, 2 weeks. Assuming.
I've seen some paperwork.
Yeah. Have trouble seeing.
Oh, I was like watching curse.
Oh, no.
Dang,
Yeah, if there's.
I felt empty there when I walked in.
Random.
I know, that's what I said.
I think one's a
One's the
presentation.
presentation, and then we have one for the ambulance.
Baltimore's mad. Oh God, my referees is part of the town. Junior did it. I said, "It's free." Like, okay, you can say that. But
Yeah.
I've been expecting some. You know, like, look at this plot.
Yeah.
Both guys on the field or something like that. There was just favoritism. Okay. Yes. Text. I waited.
Abbreviations for et cetera.
Yeah.
It's like what the kids do when they say GCT.
Tuesday. Or. Oh, she did. She was like, I
heard C doesn't sound.
don't believe it.
Oh, that's at.
Yeah, and others.
Right.
That must be a mistake. Yeah, I know.
Greek or Latin, it might be
I wanted
Latin.
to go. We always go.
Yeah, me and others, right? Yes.
Yeah,
I was kind of surprised.
I always tell the kids, stop using it. First, you don't know how to spell it, and second, if it's important enough to say et cetera, write out what you need.
It's too busy.
It's just that so they think you say it's simple to that area. Not quite wrong.
Yeah, you got like the influenza.
Yeah, the ambulance, town, and then presentation. Yeah, but let's. There you go.
Call meeting to order, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the agenda tonight, I'm asking the board if you would add a municipay, is that how they say it? Municipay, which is an agreement between the town and a credit card company, and we would also set a public hearing regarding the closing of a portion of not closing a portion, but closing Stony Lonesome Road where it meets Clover Street. So I would ask that we make the municipay number 20, public hearing, setting a public hearing for Stony Lonesome at 21, and public comment at 22, executive session 23, and hearing at 24. Is there a motion?
So moved. I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to public comment. If you could please provide your name, address, limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. We appreciate it. Okay. We'll go on to communications. Michelle.
School taxes are in full swing, so we've been very busy in the office with those already. Get ready for the mobile mammogram unit coming on September 22nd. There's still openings if anybody would like to sign up for that. It's free to everybody. And the only one thing I did hear, which I'll find out more, is they won't let you sign up if you don't have a primary care physician right now. Because they don't have anywhere to send the record to, but that's strange. But anyway, I think that's about it for me right now.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Voorhees.
Okay. Well, we stone and oiled Mountain Hill Road and Williams Road. We swept Mountain Hill Road. We should be sweeping Williams Road sometime towards the end of this week, then both of them will be striped. Signs will be removed. We replaced the culvert pipe on Amon Road. We got that done before school opened. We're continuing roadside mowing. We've installed the flashing speed zone signs up by the middle school, one on each side of the entryway.
Thank you.
We milled and filled potholes on Mill Road. We took a dump truck and a backhoe to the Mendon Festival so the kids could climb on them. Brush pickup should be starting the last week in September. The company's at the garage right now grinding the pile we've got. And we walked Mendon Green subdivision with the town engineer and code enforcement officer last week. And they plan on installing the top course of asphalt towards the end of September.
So the only thing left for that portion of Stony Lonesome is to strike after you get done sweeping it,
Stony Lawn,
or I'm sorry,
Williams,
Mountain Hill.
Mountain
Sorry.
Hill and Williams. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's straight.
thank you.
Yeah.
I know people are always asking about situation.
It will happen. We're working with the county.
Thank you. Anything else? Town engineer, Tom Fromberger?
Good evening. Just wanted to run through a few items with you guys. Passed out an engineering report, also passed out a secret document for you to take a look at for Dresbach Field. Just as a kind of reminder of that, what we've been talking about a little bit was expanding these two fields. Right now, there's two soccer and multi-use fields. Being able to have more flexibility on them, rotating the fields here. We have some fill that's been in place over in this area. Continue to add some fill, continue to get these established for this spring or fall season, get the grass growing. So in the springtime, we can start maybe having limited use of these fields. We're also been in some discussions about maybe expanding the parking area over here, providing some additional parking spaces to accommodate the uses that are out here and those who are using them. So that secret document just kind of helps start off that process. We will be disturbing over an acre ultimately with these projects, and then installing maybe some under drain and help drain out some of the facilities. So the seeker before you kind of addresses the stormwater requirements. Another item to want to talk about as well is Stony Lonesome Road. I know we've had a number of discussions on that in regard to closing approximately 525 feet, and that would go east from Clover Street, installing a new turnaround point. Quaker Meeting House Road to Stony Lonesome would be the main access for the homes that live off it in this section. We put together our plans back in June. We've had a number of discussions with New York State DOT. Those are still ongoing, but we have had some good discussions with New York State DEC, and they actually came out and delineated what land is in this location. They are still working on the final permit, and I believe we'll have that by October. And so I know we've had some recent more crashes in this area too. And so we're working and trying to speak with DOT in regard to maybe providing some barricades here and closing this road for the winter season, and then completing the work in the spring of 2026. Or if we can accomplish it this year, that would be the goal as well. So that's just kind of the updates on those projects I wanted to go over with you. I have my other updates in here too. If you have any questions, I'll answer.
Mr. Voorhees, as far as plowing season, do you anticipate any issues if we shut that off and we don't have a turnaround?
Oh, they'd have to back down Stony Lonesome probably to Quaker.
What if we could do the stone hammerhead this year? For the turnaround.
If we've got enough width in the right of way.
We actually, the wide right of way is wider than we expected, right, Tom?
Correct.
Yeah, that'd be possible.
I just don't wanna, make it tougher on
You know,
you guys or emergency vehicles, school buses.
those drivers. Oh, those two.
Yeah, here. Oh, yeah, there it is.
This one comes here.
But maybe just start off by initial public meeting, hearing to talk about the road closure and just entertain discussions with process and where we are. And we can continue to work with the DPW on staging that. Obviously, we'll have to reach out to Monroe County 911. We'll also have to reach out to the school and have those conversations.
Great. Anything else for now? Move on to Brent.
The planning board met on September 3rd. There was, one was a site plan for the gas station awning, which was approved with conditions. I think the HPC report will have a little more detail in what they were looking at there. They basically took the HPC's recommendations. There was a subdivision without site plan on Rushman Road, west of Clover, that was approved with conditions. And then there was a proposed administrative resub for Mendon Green, the open space in there, transferring some land to the Mendon Foundation. The open space easement that was supposed to be filed was not easily found. So we're having the applicant's engineer look into there, what needs to be done. Might need some updated language to reflect the new owner on that subdivision. September 17th, there is a scheduled 3-lot subdivision with site plans along Cheese Factory Road. MCBA attended the Mendon Station Festival yesterday. Well attended. It got kicked off with cheerleaders from the HFLC team. There was a dance performance by the Dunleavy Irish Dancers, and there was live music as well. Also attended the Black Diamond Express races on August 24th, well attended by more than 200 runners. They had more than 200 signed up, and then they get a bunch of walk-ins, so it was very well attended. Next MCBA meeting is Tuesday, September 16th. Those are lunchtime meetings. And then we have the holidays in the Hamlet coming up on Wednesday after Thanksgiving. Past years, they requested that the town has sponsored something that benefits the entire town. Last couple of years, it was a horse-drawn carriage. I'll relay any request if they submit them for this year's event. Continued meetings with MRB. It's Tom Fromberg just went over a lot of those. Also continued meetings with the highway department, with the supervisor and the superintendent and highway department personnel. I think the communications are still improving. I find these meetings to be a benefit to day-to-day operations in the town. It's contacted by the Mendon Foundation about an inactive electrical service in Mendon Station Park. I guess summary of this was there was an electrical service that was installed in the fall of 2009. And the town owned the meter and it was turned off in 2020. Mendon Foundation wanted to turn back on. I couldn't understand how the town owned an electrical service on county property. So they've had some discussions about how to, possibly the Mendon Foundation or the county. Basically, it would be a landlord agreement, so they would get the meter, turn it back on, and the bill would be sent to the county or the Mendon Foundation, and the town would not be involved with it. It's currently inactive. They use it for, like the Mendon Station Festival, they use it down there for the vendors, a lot of music. During the holidays in the hamlet, they'll light up the Christmas tree. It's a nice addition to have, but I don't think it should be paid for by the taxpayers of Mendon. I attended the ECB meeting this month. I'll defer to Mr. Mursky's report on that, and also happy to state that the town did obtain $74,900 in a records retention grant. It's a great step moving forward for the town towards electronic records and file storage. It's going to be a little bit of geek. I'm kind of excited about it. It's going to open up space in the town to utilize for other options. When we have rooms that are entirely records, once we scan them, we can use them for other things. That's all that I have.
Thank you, Kim.
I attended the ZBA meeting on August 28th, and there were 2 applicants. The first one was from 97 Mountain Hill Road, requesting relief to keep an unpermitted shed. They were requesting relief from the 60-foot setback with the existing shed at 32 feet to 2 inches front setback. So they granted that variance. The second one was 363 Lanning Road, requesting relief with section 260-8 for the total area of all accessory buildings on any parcel of land shall not exceed 2% of the total lot area. And they already have 2 accessory structures, and the new structure would be an additional 1,000 square feet. So this variance was denied. I also attended the Mendon Festival yesterday. It was the 3rd year that I've attended, and I've noticed that every year it continues to grow. Love seeing the young entrepreneurs, and I want to thank the Highway Department for having the trucks there. That was fun to see. I want to thank everyone involved in the New York State Records Retention Grant. I think that is a great opportunity for our community. And I am unable to attend the ZBA meeting on September 25th, so wondering if anyone could cover for me that night. That's all I have.
You get stuck, let me know.
Okay.
And I have,
Cindy?
I don't have anything. The library is meeting tonight and they didn't have anything to report that was of any urgency.
Thank you. Jim?
Yeah, on September 2nd, Brent and I, as you said, attended the Environmental Conservation Board meeting. They did discuss the climate action program again, which we've been ongoing and discussing, and did some great explanation. I think we had a good discussion about that. And we will talk about that later in the meeting. They also reviewed a subdivision and a site plan application for a 112-acre property on Cheese Factory Road that contains a number of EPODs. And last week they conducted a site survey and are preparing their report and recommendations for the planning board. The Historic Preservation Commission did not meet in September. The American Legion held their annual picnic on Thursday, August 14th at the Post Home Community Center. It was well attended. Everyone had a good time. Their next regular meeting is this Thursday. That's all I have.
Thank you. With the Mendon Youth Center, I was thinking about an opening on Monday, the 29th of September. We have 4 employees there last year. 1 has declined, 1 I have not heard from. But that's going to be pending having enough staff. We really need 4 people, not only 2 people work at a time, but we need 4 people so that, we can rotate them in and out. And we don't want the same 2 people there every night, and they don't want to be there every night either. Or every afternoon, I should say. Once that's established, we'll have an open house like we have in the past, get the word out on social media. We usually do it, the week previous to opening. I think we got to have at least 3 to open. 4 would be better employees. We have a insurance review meeting next week for 2026 with NYMER. And I did attend the seniors and the Legion picnics. Both were very nice and well attended. I met with our health insurance broker in the past month. Most of the health insurance, they're asking for about a 20% increase. He thinks it'll end up around 15 by the time they get done wrestling with the state. But as usual, it's a sizable increase, and it happens every year, unfortunately. Working with our HR person Karen regarding job descriptions. I feel like this has been on my agenda for too long, actually. And I want to make sure that what we have with civil service, what we have internally matches up properly. And so I'm working with her on that. She has extensive experience in that regard. Again, kudos regarding the grant that was brought up earlier. Michelle, Corey, and Brooke deserve the credit. I was a mere bystander. I believe it's Honeyett Falls Mendon or Mendon Honeyett Falls. I'm not sure which it is. Museum at Harry Allen Park is having a grand reopening on November 2nd at 2:00. They are inviting community. So I guess they've done a lot of work, put a lot of new displays up there, and most of it was before Jim was born that they have on display. But that's kind of an
There's in
insight.
everything.
But and also on a more serious note, we did have a resignation from the Zoning Board of Appeals recently. And that concludes my communication. We move on to Supervisor's Monthly Report.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the supervisor's monthly report for July.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Town Clerk's Monthly Report.
I'll make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the town clerk's monthly report for August 2025. Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on August 11th, 2025 as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, your budget adjustments.
Make a motion to approve the following budget adjustments as listed in our agenda.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
I just want to state for the record that one of the transfers will likely result in a future voucher that I do plan on recusing myself from, but tonight I'm simply going to approve the transfer for budgetary purposes.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Transfer of reserve funds.
I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of reserve funds in the amount of $336.21 from NY 01-1255-0010 to DB 5110.2 equipment. This resolution is subject to permissive referendum.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? So this is for a truck that is has been on order for the highway department, and we weren't sure if we were going to get it this year or next year, but now it appears that we are going to get it before the end of the year, and it comes fully equipped. In other words, it doesn't have to be drop shipped for further equipment. Am I correct, Mr. Voorhees?
Turnkey.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next are vouchers.
I'll make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers number 25-422 to 25-435 on general abstract 2509A in the amount of $100,791.88.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers numbered 25-436 to 25-470 on general abstract 2509B in the amount of $18,545.42.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve all claims on vouchers number 25-278 to 25-297 on Highway Abstract 2509 in the amount of $16,054.70.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
And library vouchers number 25-131 to 25-137 on Library Abstract 2509A in the amount of $803.58 were presented to the town board for payment. And library vouchers number 25-138 to 25-150 on Library Abstract 2509B in the amount of $5,096.18 were also presented to the town board for payment.
Thank you. My meeting. Okay, this is the presentation of the 2026 tentative town budget. For anybody who's unfamiliar with the process, we send out letters to the department heads. They respond their budget requests. Then, with the help of our budget person, or our finance person, excuse me, we put the budget together. Then I present it to the town board. At that point, the town board can change anything they want with 3 votes. Our next meeting in 2 weeks, they can move it to, I'm sorry, I moved that too, didn't I? At that time, they can make any changes they would like with 3 votes and possibly move it to preliminary status, set a public hearing. And after hearing from the public, they can make further changes or adopt the final budget. Highlights of the 2026 tentative budget: the property tax rate is within the tax cap for Mendon residents. It increases funding for our seniors program, allocates funding for electronic records retention with the grant funding that was already mentioned, provides funding for increased interior storage at the highway department, increases funding for HFL joint summer recreation program, provides highway equipment purchases, provides expansion for dry spec playing fields. A lot of these things we've already talked about tonight. Invest in office enhancements for town hall to support staff and residents. And also our sidewalk, which is an ongoing expansion project. Increased costs that we're seeing, summer recreation contract is up 8%, but it's due to larger participation. If it wasn't a successful program, it wouldn't cost more. And of course, the participants pay the majority of the costs to attend that. The seniors program up 5%, employees health insurance, as I previously mentioned, up 15%. That's an estimate at this point, and $680,500 for replacement vehicles at the highway department. These are the tentative tax rates: $2.45 down outside the village and $1.55 down inside the village. This is a graph showing from 2019 to the proposed rate in 2026, down outside the village of $2.45. As you can see there, we've been pretty flat over the years, and I think residents are happy with that. Otherwise, we'd have more people in the seats. For residents inside the villages, again, we've been pretty flat here as well. Just as notation, the village tax rate is $2.91. And of course, people who live in the village pay that $1.55, and then they pay the $2.91 to the village over the top, because the village provides certain services that the town does not for village residents. And the school tax rate is, for the 25-26 school year, is $26.43. Nice pie chart to give you some kind of example as to where your tax money goes. With the school, of course, being the majority of the amount. And the county rate is different between the town and village because of the distribution of sales tax. And of course, town outside the village residents do not pay the village tax. So for a home that is assessed, and I emphasize the word assessed at $200,000, not what Zillow says it's worth, but what the assessor has listed. The average resident in the town outside the village pays $489.54 in town taxes. 0% tax increase. The average village resident with the same $200,000 assessment is 0% tax with a $309.40 in town taxes. Statistical information, flat tax rate for town outside the village for 2024 to 2026. The town outside the village rate is 22 cents lower than it was since the last reassessment, which was in 2017, despite what you see on social media. The current tax rate is $2.45, which is 10 cents less than it was in 2010. The town has limited levy growth to just 10% over the last 16 years. Can't think of a lot of other things that have only gone up 10% in the last 16 years. The town of Mendon maintains one of the lowest town tax rates in Monroe County. These are revenue, or larger revenues, which is sales tax and mortgage tax. The A is for actual and the B is for budgeted. As you can see, we had a big spike a few years ago when interest rates were low and people were refinancing homes and that type of thing, and that's flattened out now. Or I'm sorry, this is sales tax. Excuse me. That sales tax is also somewhat limited. In talking to our financial person, she likes to be a little more cautious in sales tax revenue. Our mortgage tax revenue, as I said, had a big spike a few years ago, and now it's leveled off considerably. Yeah, the A is for actual, the B is for budgeted amount. 2026 expenditures. Military Memorial Splash Park. This keeps up our maintenance and upkeep for that. Continues our sidewalk expansion. Increased funding for the library by $19,575. Field improvements at Dry Field, as we've already heard from our engineer. And community celebrations. It continues our Veterans Day lunch and community concert, which has been extremely popular in our community. The 26 budget provides funding for vital quality services of life, 2 annual brush pickups. For anybody who remembers back in about 2008 or 9, that was cut to 1, and there was a considerable outrage amongst our residents. Increased funding for our seniors program. We have some really good people running our seniors program, and that group of people is growing. Every time I go to one of their meetings, it's getting bigger and bigger. Maybe I'll start going regular after the first years. Continued funding for sidewalk expansion in the hamlet, and provides, as I said, the Veterans Day lunch for our local veterans and families. Increases funding for library operations, allocates for highway equipment replacement utilizing our reserve funds. In summary, no tax increase, increased funding for seniors, improving our quality of life with the things that I mentioned, like the splash park and pavilion, Semel Road fields, and increasing the funding for joint recreation program, which, as I said, is because of increased participation, which is good. And the sidewalk projects are progressive. That pretty much covers that portion of it. And I just wanted to bring a couple of things to the board's attention. Figure out which button shuts this down off. There. So I provided you with this slideshow, provided you with the budget, with line by line breakdown. And I also provided you with, the, how we got to those numbers in the budget. Which is. We have, it's. The information that was used, the proposed salary schedule, longevity schedule, health insurance expenditures, again, which are estimated. The 5-year revenue by fund. So we go back into every single revenue fund, look at 5 years, do an average. Quite frankly, it's always good when the funding is put in the right place in the budget, when the funding comes in. And that, as you can see, there's a few holes in there, and unfortunately, it wasn't always done. Also, there's a historical tax rate and levy going back to 2000, I think, 7 in there. I'm not mistaken. Key pieces that are still to be determined for the budget. The Mendon Fire District budget, which we do not have at this point, which does not affect this budget, but it is necessary before we can turn it into the county. The ambulance budget, which we just recently got Friday afternoon from the village. The fire protection budget, which we just recently got from the village on Friday afternoon. And the Article 7 challenges to assessments. So they're talking to the assessor, there's, I think, 8 or 10 challenges to assessments. When those go to chapter or Article 7s, they may be settled, they may be determined by an arbitrator, which will in all likelihood change the dollar amount of assessed valuation in the town, which we can tweak as we get through the budget process. And that's normal, nothing unusual there. So I would encourage the board to review the information that I've given you and to talk amongst yourselves, contact me with any changes you would like to see us make in the budget. Do not take offense. I understand the process. This is my best work and soon to be our best work. And if there are changes, that's fine. That's why we have 5 people on the board. So and I would appreciate if you could do that before the next meeting, 2 weeks. Let's see.
Well, thanks for putting all that together.
No problem. I actually enjoy it. I really do. I'm more of a math guy than a word guy. Surprise. Right, Michelle?
Yeah, sure.
We'll move on to the capital improvement program. So I have that for you as well. There is the capital improvement for highway department, and I have gone over this with Carter at highway department. He's kudos to Carter, did an excellent job of putting all this together. We've been back and forth on a few things, but he's done a good job. And I think the important thing is that most years we try to spend about the same amount. Because if we do that, you're not going to see big spikes one way or another. And obviously it's a plan, nothing written in stone, but we do try to stick to the plan as often as possible. And we have a capital improvement plan for buildings and grounds for the next several years, which I worked at with Kevin. Again, I shouldn't say I worked with Kevin. Kevin worked on this exclusively, put this together, and I had an opportunity to sit down and go over some things and get some numbers adjusted. But I think putting everything in one sheet versus the old way of having a different sheet for every building, this is a lot cleaner. And I think it speaks to all the things that are involved with buildings and grounds, quite frankly. So I would ask that you take a look at those, and in 2 weeks, again, if you have any changes, we can address them then, or possibly consider moving us to having a public hearing on the capital improvement. Next on here is the Constitution Week proclamation. So, I just want to introduce you to the board and have you have a chance, or you
Hi.
can introduce yourself.
I'm Marty Gunther. I am the second vice regent of the Canandaigua chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution. I have a little something to say about why Constitution Week is important. The United States Constitution, America's most important document, stands as a testament to the tenacity of the Americans throughout history to maintain their liberties, freedoms, and inalienable rights. And Constitution Week is celebrated annually during the week of September 17th through 23rd to commemorate its history, importance, and to bring the attention to how it serves still today. The celebration of the Constitution was started by the Daughters of the American Revolution. In 1955, DAR petitioned Congress to set aside September 17th, that was the day that it was actually signed, through the 23rd, annually to be dedicated for the observance of Constitution Week. The resolution was later adopted by the U.S. Congress and signed into public law on August 2nd, 1956 by Dwight Eisenhower. So in honor of that, we have asked that the town proclaim next week as Constitution Week. So you have the proclamation. Do you read that then, or do I read that?
Well, it's up to you. We have it here, and I think it would be nice if we did read.
Well, I think, yeah, you read it because it's you do it.
Jim, were there any changes to what we have in front of us?
As we talked about, I said the town board
Yes, because I really don't have the authority that you
by
guys.
yourself.
Oh,
The
okay.
board does.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so I'll read from this if you don't
Okay,
mind, unless you
sure.
want to read.
I will if you want.
Well, you go ahead.
Okay.
Hang on, let me take a picture.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, it doesn't happen in the DAR, there's no photo. Yeah. All right. Okay, so go ahead.
Action photo while I'm reading.
Yes, oh, you're gonna read, okay.
Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government in a republic dedicated to rule by law. And whereas September 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17 through 23 as Constitution Week. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Mendon, County of Monroe, and State of New York do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week in the Town of Mendon. And further, the Town Board asks our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. I'll second that.
Can I have a picture with the two of you?
Sure. Actually, I'd encourage would you stand here and get the picture with the board, and maybe
Sure.
somebody could take a picture with an iPhone? Somebody's phone?
Sorry. A rose.
Please.
Not that you're the parents, yes.
We all want to stand?
Yes, so it was the whole board, right?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Shall we scoot Jim?
In front of the flag.
Perfect.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you
Thank you
coming
for my
out.
Constitution Week tomorrow. I have to give an exciting presentation on the Constitution. Sure, sure. Thank you.
No, I was reading recently when the signees of the Constitution. They were almost signing a death warrant. From the British government for
Mhm.
them and their families by signing.
Yeah.
The courage that it took to sign that document.
Right,
It's incredible.
yes, it was, and how well it's held up over the years.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it?
Mhm.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That's one of the nicest things we do, I think. Next is Dreisbach Park, the rectangular
Did
fields.
we vote?
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Next is number 15, Dreisbach Park, the rectangular fields. This is regarding ARPA funding.
I'll make a motion to approve the ARPA funding of general improvements to the rectangular fields at Dreisbach Park not to exceed $58,000.
Second.
So, again, with the ARPA funding, there's a lot of I's to dot, T's to cross. I know we've talked about this before, but we need these resolutions to be able to send for the reimbursement part of the ARPA. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next is dog control vehicle authorization for additional expense.
I'll make a motion to authorize an increase in the amount to be bid at auction on a used suburban type vehicle for the dog control officer due to new regulations to be paid from account A 3510.2.
I'll second that.
So we did this already, except that Carter at the highway department can't find what he feels is a suitable vehicle for the amount of money that we had. Because he's gone to look at them with Kevin, and he said doesn't have a lot of confidence in these vehicles that he's looked at so far, so we're gonna have to up our game. And because this is something that a lot of other towns are gonna be subject to the same rules and regulations, who I'm sure don't have a vehicle, we're expecting, these vehicles to sell at a premium the later we get in the year. So, anyway, that's why we're here. So, all in favor?
If I'm not mistaken, I have a question.
Sure.
What are we increasing this value to?
You're absolutely right.
We
Because
are,
I think we approved for 15,000 plus the bid fee, right?
yes,
Mhm.
yes.
So that's,
So we don't have an amount on there. You're correct.
I would
yeah.
like to amend my motion to make the increase to the amount of $20,000 plus the bid fees. Would you second my
I would
amendment to
second
that?
Okay. Any other discussion?
I'm more comfortable with that.
Okay. All in
Sorry
favor?
about that.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next is the climate smart communities put on for discussion.
Yeah, excuse me, let me just step over you there.
Oh, you're good.
Like we said in our reports earlier, both, Brent and I attended the last ECB meeting, who's been discussing this for a while. Kind of reviewed the proposed for discussion resolutions that we had at the last meeting. And in the pledge part, the ECB did come up with some additional wording for number 9 of the pledge. And I know Peter's here, so please correct me if I'm wrong on this. I think 9 was the only part there where they say inform and inspire the public and facilitate ongoing education and engagement with the public. And then Brent and I we had talked with the board, and then we met last Friday here. There were some regulations that, and Brent, you'll probably say this better than me though, that included some town representation on the committee, or some designated town representation on the committee. So, we talked about expanding the task force, to 9 voting members, and 1 ex officio student representative as a non-voting member. And as we talked about, and the first 5 would also be town representatives, because they are on the ECB currently. 2 town board members, a town employee, but then also like an at-large town resident. So that was our suggestion, to make up that task force. So those are the changes that we had talked about a little bit at the meeting, and then Brent and I kind of hammered them out a little bit, and that's what we thought would make it fit the regs, be comfortable, have enough people to do the work, and that's where we are. Other than that, what we presented last time is pretty much the same. The coordinator, Resolution didn't change. And just those couple things, so, I don't know if anybody has any other thoughts, or Brent, you have any other thoughts?
Yeah, so I think that, so we would have the coordinator. And then per the state regulation, the state regulations, anybody that's appointed board is considered a representative of the community. So you have to be either an elected official or a full-time employee to be considered a municipal representative, according to those towns. So that is part of the reason why we have the added positions on there.
Peter or Tim, is there anything you want to add?
No, they covered it.
Or no, it's not Tim.
It's Mike.
It's Mike. I'm sorry. I'm looking at you through here.
The Hazel.
And I think, we had a lot of discussion at this meeting, at the ECB meeting. It's almost. It's the chicken or the egg here, what is there gonna be the roles and responsibilities, but before we determine that, we need to create the climate smart committee, so they can look into what their roles and responsibility is and give us recommendations. It's almost dizzying.
And I believe there was also a statement added in there, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have it in front of me. Kind of covering just that kind of the first order of business would be to identify the course of action and then present it to the town board for their approval.
Yes, I think that's
Yes.
in the third resolution, right, Jim?
It is, yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth where at, right before the now therefore be it resolved. Yes, you're absolutely right, thanks for pointing that out.
May I ask a question? Do we have any idea what the, like the startup costs of doing something like this will be?
In a perfect world, we're talking about 0. We're looking at, volunteers from this. Obviously, we're gonna have some kind of a cost with the town employee. Right? We gotta compensate the town employee. The elected officials already compensated. I would assume one of the first things that this group is gonna do is start looking for low hanging fruit of what to register and start putting in here tasks that already have been done to try to get ourselves up to, the bronze is the first level, correct, Mike and Peter? First, we gotta get registered.
Yep.
And then we gotta get certified. So, in a, what I would envision, Cindy, is, some moving around of personal hours. So it's not, when we have 2 people in the office, maybe we can get away with 1 and then replace that with this meeting schedule. Very similar to what we do with other board meetings.
Okay,
Minimal advertising, we would have it subject to open meetings law, so we would advertise the meetings, usage of the room, things like that. So I would think minimal. And again, as they've said a couple times, their idea is to, kind of gather what has already been happened for points wise, and then they're gonna come up with, sort of their list of things that they would like the town board to consider to move on as part of the program, but all that would come back to the town board. So for the committee, I think, or the task force, minimal cost.
I think we discussed if there was a consultant, the consultant would probably work with the town board.
okay.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you thought about what the tracking process will be for what what this group does.
Well, that's where we would have the 2 town board members involved, because I would see this very similar to what we did with the comprehensive plan update.
Okay.
We would have 2 or 3 meetings to what is our scope, and the comprehensive plan, we've already done that, so we kind of knew what our scope was gonna be.
Right,
This is the first time that
I know.
the town will be doing this, so it will be.
I know there's some unknowns, obviously, that
Yes.
you can't go back to. I
The
get
state
that.
has, I won't call it perfect guidance, but they do have guidance of these 9 items. Once you get onto the website and you go into there are, some of these have 10 or 12 sub items on there and talk about what it is. Some of these, it's, implement climate smart land use. My best way, one of those things in there, describe that as what we have already done with our E-pods.
Okay,
Okay, so that's a for example of what we would be doing. Or whoever is on the task.
is there a cost to infrastructure?
For,
Depends on what you do.
Right,
I mean,
I
it
mean,
would, it would come back to this town board before any money could be spent.
yes.
You know, if
Yeah.
it was, that we're gonna replace, I don't know, we've already done this, but I'm using this example, we'll replace all these lights in
Yeah.
town hall with LEDs. If that's a cost, it's gonna come back to the town board for approval.
right,
Yes, yes, this committee is an advisory committee. It's not a steering committee.
okay,
Yeah, as I see, and the cost will come out of any actions the town board decides to take from the recommendations of the task.
got it. Thank you.
So,
Any
what's-
questions?
do we wanna move these two resolutions?
Yeah, we actually have three.
Three.
Yeah, there's, we separated them up. There is the
Yes.
pledge, the coordinator and the task force. I know not everybody has these. Would you like me to read? We should probably read these ones out loud. Okay. I'll make a motion, for to adopt the following. Whereas the town of Mendon has a decades-long commitment to environmental stewardship and healthy living for all our residents. And whereas the town has put this commitment into effect by taking concrete and tangible actions in pursuit of the goals of preserving open space, of clean air, of clean water, and a sustainable environment. And whereas the town desires to continue these efforts by participating in the state of New York's Climate Smart Communities program, recognizing that the town already has completed elements of what is required to be certified by the state as a climate smart community under the program. And whereas we believe that the goals required to obtain climate smart certification stand on their own merits, irrespective of qualification for certification, and reflect the values and policy choices of the town of Mendon over many years. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Mendon, in order to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to a changing climate, adopts the New York State Climate Smart Communities Pledge, which comprises the following 10 elements. 1, to build a climate smart community. 2, to inventory emissions, set goals, and plan for climate action. 3, to decrease energy use. 4, shift to clean renewable energy. 5, use climate smart materials management. 6, implement climate smart land use. 7, enhance community resilience to climate change. 8, support a green innovation economy. 9, inform and inspire the public and facilitate ongoing education and engagement with the public. And 10, engage in an evolving process of climate action.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I'll do the next one. Well, is there a motion?
So moved.
And a
I will second.
Okay.
Sorry.
To adopt the following. Whereas the one of the two mandatory actions following the adoption of the above resolution is to appoint a climate smart communities coordinator. Whereas the coordinator can register the municipality on the CSC website, from which the municipality can review and pursue actions, upload documentation of completion, and receive certification points. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Mendon Town Board appoints Peter Carosa as the Town of Mendon Task Force Coordinator, term to expire December 31st, 2026. Subsequent terms will be for 2 years. This is a non-compensated position, and be it further resolved that Mr. Carosa provide the town board with a requested list of meeting dates for the task force as soon as practical, and the said list to be approved and advertised before their first meeting. All in favor? Aye, any opposed? Okay. Anybody want to read the third one?
I'll read it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Should
Um,
we make a
Whereas-
motion first,
pardon me?
might make a motion.
You want me to make a
Second.
motion first? Yeah, we don't.
And I'll second it.
Okay,
Whereas the one of the two mandatory actions following the adoption of the above resolution is to appoint a climate smart communities task force. And whereas that task force will be on a non-compensated advisory only board that will report directly to the town supervisor through the CSC coordinator. And whereas the task force will start by determining which actions the town has already completed and can apply credit for. And whereas, after already completed actions are submitted, the task force will identify the next action items to be perused and will present these actions to the town board for approval and implementation. After the task is completed, the town board will review the need for the task force to continue as composed. Excuse me. Whereas the first responsibility of the task force will be to propose a structure, a process, and a set of initial priorities to be approved by the town board for realizing the goals of the Climate Smart Communities Pledge. Now therefore be it resolved that the task force be made up of 9 voting members and 1 ex officio non-voting student representative as follows: Peter Carosa, coordinator; Margaret Bailey; Mike Burke; Jeff Clark; Tim Engström, town board member, town employee, town resident, and ex officio HFL student representative. Be it further resolved that members shall serve a 2-year term beginning January 1st, 2027. The first term of all members will expire December 31st, 2026, regardless of appointment date. And be it further resolved that the town board realizes that the task force may, from time to time, require outside professional assistance. Requests by the task force for such assistance shall be put to the town board through the coordinator to determine necessity, funding, and approval.
all in favor?
Um,
Aye, any opposed? Thank you. All right, so we'll move on to fire protection district and ambulance contracts. So as I mentioned earlier, Friday, we received these from the village. Everybody has. And
Look at him very careful.
uh,
I want it in email, too.
the fire protection contract does require public hearing, which I'm not. Yeah, and you just received these, so I'm not saying we go further. I just want to make that known. The ambulance does not, because it's a contract. I'll start with the fire protection contract. I would suggest you take a look at it, and if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to contact myself or contact the village. It's pretty straightforward. It's based on assessed valuation, which is the same thing as the Mendon Fire District. Obviously, there's an increased cost involved, and that cost is borne by those who live in the fire protection district only. The ambulance, however, is a little different breed. I'm going to rewind to March 13th of this year. Brent and I met with the mayor regarding the current ambulance contract. I told the mayor that I felt that the contract was outdated. We've been using it for years. We've been kicking this can down the road for too long. We had a report that was done by a resident in 2016, which showed some serious issues with the finances going to the from the town to the village for the ambulance. We're currently paying, when I say we, I mean the residents of the town of Mendon outside the village are currently paying 65% of this proposed contract. We 26.3% of the calls come to the town outside the village. So we're paying 65% and we're receiving 26% of the service.
Mhm.
At that point in March 13th, the mayor talked about putting another ambulance on, which, you know, I like all of you want an ambulance to show when you call 911. Can't have one sitting outside everybody's house in the town of Mendon. If we're not making money, and this isn't a money-making venture, as is all government expenditures, but if the town is having to put money into this thing, the village and the town of West Bloomfield, to keep it afloat, putting another ambulance on because you're missing some calls is not going to be financially positive. So that took place in March. We also, part of the contract is that we receive monthly reports. We've received 3 of them in 2025. And those reports tell how many calls there are and keeps up with the third party revenue and expenses.
Mhm.
The ambulance is, like it or not, a business. And I feel it's our responsibility as a town board to make sure that we're getting the same return for the money that we're asking our residents outside the village to put forward towards this contract. I sent a different contract to the mayor a couple of months ago and said we'd be willing to pay the difference between all the calls in the town outside the village minus the revenue that comes in from those calls, which would seem pretty fair to me. So in other words, if they said, well, the calls out in the town outside the village is $200,000 and we brought in $100,000 in third party revenue from those calls, then the town would make up the difference, which is 200 with another $100,000, which is very similar to what the town of Pittsburgh does when I've talked to the supervisor there. But that apparently fell on deaf ears. So I am concerned. You all have this letter, multi-page letter from the mayor that explains many of the things that he describes on here as costs. I'm going to send a response to that letter
Mhm.
from myself personally as the town supervisor. If anyone would like input on that letter, I'd be more than happy to share it with you if you'd like to sign on to that letter. Or maybe you'd want to send something yourself. But I'm tired of kicking the can down the road. I guess that's my best way to say it. So I would ask that you read the letter and look over the contract. And if you want us, it refers to the original, well, not the original, but previous contracts in that letter.
Mhm.
And if you want copies of that, we have them in the office downstairs. You want to see those. Anyone else like to chime in on any of the above?
Well, I was just gonna ask, reading through the mayor's letter, it sounded like part of the reason they are missing calls is because of staffing.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's a big part, I think.
How is adding another ambulance gonna help staffing?
I don't have an answer to that question.
I'm in agreement with you. I know I had to call the ambulance twice in the past couple of years. And neither time did Mendon show up. It was Pittsburgh both times. Mhm.
And I completely understand, what they call it when you ambulance covers for somebody else, so they call it.
Mutual aid.
Mutual aid, yes. Completely understand it and agree with it.
Right.
I think it's great that we go help out our neighboring communities when needed. I think it's we've had emergencies, but this is a whole lot of money.
Mhm.
And me personally, I've said this, privately and probably haven't said it publicly at this point, but to me, we should have one townwide fire district and they are the ones who should be running the ambulance. But that's just my opinion. Over the last 9 years of discussion, meetings, all kinds of things. So,
It could solve some pretty serious issues, I think.
yes,
At least in the interim, the village has the, what is it, the certificate of,
with the certificate of
ALS.
need,
so
which
they,
requires them to provide ambulance service to the town outside the village.
even if we had to take some time to review a new contract, no service would ever be interrupted.
Correct. Correct. It can be interrupted. Correct.
And the mayor states in the letter that the formula that's currently used was developed by a Mendon town supervisor and a village mayor many years ago and reviewed multiple times by actuaries and financial firms. Is that accurate?
The first part is, I have no knowledge of the second part.
That it's been reviewed by other,
I don't have any.
if this is the formula, it's
Mhm.
rather confusing.
It's a
Sure
it's a three-legged stool based on population, call volume, and assessment. And because in the town of Mendon, the town outside the village is roughly 80% of the assessed value. If you look at the call volume, the majority of the call volume is within the village of
Well,
Honeycomb Falls.
the percentage of calls was
Mhm.
57%, if I'm reading this
Mhm.
correctly,
Correct.
even though it's really confusing.
It is extremely confusing. And I would tell you that I have relied on Muffy Meisensaw on more than one occasion to walk me through some of this ambulance and information, because it is, to me, it's a lot simpler if we just say, we'll pay the difference between for the calls in the town outside the village, the
Agreed.
difference between the revenue and the expenses.
Mhm.
It looks like they took the assessment, our population, and then the calls.
Well, each one's a third.
Okay,
Each one's a third, and then you have, because West Bloomfield's included in there, you have the equalization rate to take into consideration.
I might be mistaken, but I think they're using this equalization twice. Equalization rate.
There is no page number.
I did
Where are you
not have
looking?
an opportunity to review it thoroughly, so.
They're
Yeah.
taking our
So
assessment
this
and
is
then they're
page
turning
one.
in our
Right,
district
right.
values based off the equalization rate. To come up with a rate per thousand. And then they take that rate per thousand and they're multiplying it by the equalization rate again. So. The equalization rate's being multiplied twice.
I'd want
It looks that way to
I-
me too.
I don't want.
I'm not an actuary.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
I'd want to take a little study it.
yeah.
I mean, the ambulance, I have no qualms with the ambulance, the paid people, the volunteers, their level of service. That's not what this is about.
Right.
No, that's not
And
what
we
this
need
is
to
about.
provide this service,
Yes.
but it should be.
And we've asked for this a couple of times at least. And there's a lot of information that I don't see in here is, how many drop calls do we have? We're talking about adding a second ambulance because we had drop calls, but we don't have the number of drop calls.
Right.
We have the mutual aid, how many mutual aids are we missing because of drop calls, because we're in service?
Well, I think maybe I misunderstood you, but I think what we want to know is how many drop calls were because we had provided mutual aid somewhere else.
Well,
Right.
all of these questions, but I mean, are we dropping, how many times did Pittsford come into town because we're out of town? How many times did we go into another town to cover mutual aid? And how many drop calls are we having in general?
I know the second time that happened, and I knew the EMT who was there. He said, "This is the second time you've been here. Where's Mendon?" He said, "They don't have staff." That was his answer.
I'm sorry, Cindy.
They don't have staff.
They don't have staff.
They don't have enough staff.
And because this isn't. The formula is not pushed on us by the New York State Legislature. This is just agreement between two municipalities.
Yes.
So we can change the formula without going anywhere else, correct?
Correct, with the village, obviously.
No, yes, I mean, but we don't have to have this approved by.
And West Bloomfield. I
Would have been
assume.
like that.
Yeah, I think West Bloomfield would probably want to buy in to, if the formula was changed, they'd want to be there for the discussion.
They would negotiate their own contract, wouldn't they?
They certainly could.
They can, after.
And I know the supervisor from West Bloomfield is term is ending December 31st. He is not seeking reelection.
Who was that?
The supervisor from West Bloomfield is
Okay.
not seeking reelection.
Oh, yeah. that's fine.
That sure is.
It sounds like you've tried to start this conversation a few months ago and.
I'd like
Wait, a few years ago,
Well,
yeah.
I'd like to review your letter, John. I think I might have some comments to add.
Sure.
I
So,
would like to see it also.
okay, so I'll work on a draft this week and try to get something to you by
Thank
the
you.
first of the week.
Thank you.
And like you said, Brett, the contract is not an easy thing to absorb, in my opinion, so I would urge everybody to take a look at it.
yes. Can we flip those separately? Did we put those separately?
That was the.
They came to the same
No,
number.
Alright.
This was with,
You didn't get them?
I didn't get contracts.
Oh, okay, he didn't include the contracts in yours.
No,
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 Oh,
not in
okay.
our, we didn't get.
not, no, we didn't get
contracts.
contracts.
Okay, I'll scan them in, and I didn't realize that. I'll
Okay.
open your mail, so I will scan those in tomorrow. and send it to you.
it's like double tape.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
I mean, there was a combination to get into that envelope.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to declaration of surplus.
Make a motion to declare the following items that the highway department is surplus and authorize their disposition at RTA auction, sorry, Teetsworth. 2020 Chevy Silverado superintendent truck number 1, 2018 Ford F-350 highway truck number 5.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now we're at
Municipalities.
Municipay. It was a error on my part for not doing this to the
Yeah.
agenda. So
Make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
You want me to read it?
I'll make a motion to enter into an agreement and begin set up procedures with Municipay for online and credit card transactions. They partner with SDL, the new software program the town is switching over to. The service fee charged to constituents will be 3% with a $3 minimum charge for credit debit cards. This fee covers all costs associated with electronic payment acceptance. There are no monthly, annual, or chargeback fees charged to the town, and the town will receive deposits in 2 business days. This will allow customers to utilize Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express.
I'll second.
is there any other discussion?
I have questions for Michelle.
Sure.
I mean, you just set this up, was it this year or last year that you set up the credit card payments?
So the credit card payments started my first year.
Your
We're
first
going on 4 years.
Okay. Is this an addition or in replacement?
It'll replace.
This will
And
replace
there's no
it?
fees for us to get rid of the other one either.
Okay, so if there's ever any, some of these credit cards have cash back and stuff like that goes to the vendor, we don't have to worry about that. Oh, okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Thank you. Move on to new number 21, which is to set the
Yeah, public hearing.
Stony, on the enclosure of Stony Lonesome Road.
So moved. Is that's for next meeting, right?
Yes, the
Second
public
September
hearing,
meeting?
the public hearing would be, let's see, we got enough time, Michelle?
Well, can I ask a question related to that?
Yes.
Is this a legal public hearing or is this a public information meeting?
it is a public hearing that is necessary. Tom Farmer, correct me if I'm wrong.
It's both, it's really both, it's public hearing and public meeting.
But it's a legal public hearing that we're having to close the road. Close, I don't, not the
Public
road.
information and public hearing.
Yeah, what part is the public hearing is on closing the road?
Portion of the road.
Portion of the road.
Okay.
East of Clover Street.
How many days do I have to have that in? Yeah, because it wouldn't actually go until the 18th.
I don't think we have.
Yeah, I don't think we got enough time, so we'll push it off till October 18th.
I'll revise my motion for October 18th at 7 PM or soon thereafter is when we can begin.
I'll second that.
October 18th. Should be a Monday.
It's the third Monday because of Columbus Day.
That's our regular meeting, correct?
Yeah.
It's actually the 20th.
It is.
October 18th is a Saturday.
Oh,
Sorry,
Change it again.
I'll revise my
My
motion
bad.
again.
Yeah, 20th. My apologies.
So the 20th, which is our regular meeting.
This is a regular.
Okay. We got that down. Any other discussion?
No,
Need a second.
second,
All in favor?
aye.
Let's see, we are at public comment. Again, if you would please provide your name, address, which comments 3 minutes or less, we appreciate it. Anybody? At this point, is there a motion to go into executive session for pending or current litigation?
I will second.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brent.
Thank you.
Understood.
And you seconded your,
I did.
all in favor for executive session?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Thank you. So we will be coming back into for adjournment unless there's a change in the agenda. If you want to stick around outside.
John, is this something I can stay for?
Sorry,
Is this something I can stay for or
it's up to you.
not? I don't need.
I will say that it's regarding a subject that you have at times recuse yourself.
Okay, then I'll do it again. Don't want to break the.
John, I'm gonna turn off the microphones.
Thanks, Danny
Thanks.
and Tom.
Some.
And is camera turned off?
Oh, I haven't turned anything off yet. Geez, thank you.
Okay, hang on, I'm leaving.
Thanks, Cindy. Have a good night.
You too.